But oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
Welcome back to Onto the Ball. Travis, what a beautiful night to schedule a live stream match reaction when Liverpool and Manchester United are both playing. And I see Man United go 1-0 down, and I thought, here we go.
You were looking forward to it, weren't you? You couldn't wait.
I'm looking forward to it even more. And then, as it would happen, you never bet against Man United. And that was true.
Mate, you had it all ready, didn't you? You had the stream set up, the microphone charged. You had the lot all plugged in at 1-0.
Mate. Already.
De Gea keeping us in it.
Where do we start? I mean, I'm just gassed. Liverpool, 3 points finally. Where are we in the league now?
I don't know. I haven't checked. I think below.
I think third, we might be up to sixth.
Oh yeah.
I think we might be up to sixth.
Nice.
But Man United, brother, they're just so annoying. Even at 1-0 down, I thought, because I used to love putting a bet on. I looked at it and I thought, should I stick 10 quid on Man United? Because I know they'll come back.
Yeah.
And then ended up 3-1 comfy.
I thought it was going to go to extra time at one point. I mean, the first half was just not good enough. Obviously, we rung the changes with Anfield in mind, and the fact that the final was just a couple of days ago. We had to make a lot of changes, and we made 6 changes. So there was some key players missing. Shaw, both centre halves changed. The 2 midfield players changed. Rashford out. So it's pretty obvious that we had Anfield in mind, and we thought being at home to West Ham, we'd be pretty comfortable. They went with their strongest team, obviously got nothing to lose in a relegation battle. Is there any sort of chance for any sort of success? Which team should do, really, when they're not really chasing on multiple fronts. They should take it seriously. And we're taking it seriously. I know we rotated a lot, but as I said in the last podcast, the manager wants to take every single competition and every single game seriously. And we did not make a good start to the game at all. We were lucky to go in at half-time, 0-0, to be fair. De Gea made a couple of big saves at crucial moments. Antonio had a chance in the first half where he should have scored, and De Gea's made a fantastic save. And I thought, well, the change is going to come back to haunt us, sort of thing. Then the second half, again, didn't make the greatest start to the game, but the goal that West Ham scored, how it wasn't chalked off for the ball going out. I know Simon Stone, I saw on Twitter, posted some facts about the ball being out of play and stuff, and apparently as long as it's like hovering over it or something like that. I didn't see the proper wording, but I think technically it should have stood, but it looked like the whole ball had crossed the line, to be perfectly honest, and we went 1-0 down. It's a great finish from Ben Rama. We switched off and didn't play to the whistle. Everybody stopped thinking the ball had gone out. He skipped inside. Dalot played a ball inside, and Ben Rama's taken a touch out of his feet and bent it straight into the top corner with his right foot. De Gea, absolutely no chance. And West Ham had the tails up. I mean, just after that as well, they had another chance. They should have made it 2. And it was all West Ham, and we had to bring the changes. Obviously, Casemiro came on at half-time, and we made a couple of other changes later on in the game. And you thought at 1-0, and then Casemiro scored disallowed goal. I thought, it's not going to be our night. Maybe it's going to catch up with us. A little bit of
what was wrong with that goal? I seen it was
offside.
Ruled out. Was it? Yeah,
it was offside, and it was clearly offside as well. Like without a doubt, you could not. That goal could not stand under any circumstances. But it took ages for it to be decided, and it was just like, it was quite blatant to see that it was offside. And VAR in general is just taking far too long to make simple decisions. I think they're just stopping it for stop's sake now. Like, even when a goal is blatantly onside, they're just checking it. You don't have to stop the game to do a check. You can just do a private check while the game's still going on and pull it back if needs be. But it's like they're freezing after every goal. You don't know whether to celebrate or not. And I think that's something that needs changing next season. But obviously then we got the equaliser from, well, it was an own goal in the end. I think initially everybody thought it was Weghorst's corner from Bruno into the box, and it was in the 6-yard box. You think Areola should be claiming that, but he's whipped it straight underneath more or less the crossbar. And with Vegor's physical presence in terms of his height, he's hard to fight off, and it's one each. And I thought, well, it's going to extra time. And then late on, Garnacho doing what Garnacho does. He's a special talent. He really is a special talent. And he's somebody who I'd been crying out to get more minutes in pre-season. I can remember saying it. And the ball's come out to him. First, he's had a touch out of his feet, just used the defender as a guide, and he's just whipped it straight in the far corner in stoppage time. It was absolutely beautiful to see. Yeah, it was a great finish. And I can't say we definitely deserved it, but again, the spirit, the character we show, the substitutions from Ten Hag impacting games. And I think it showed a few things. I think it shows that the players that didn't start the game are just so important to us. The likes of Casemiro, Rashford coming on, being able to impact the game. And we still need a little bit more depth if we're going to challenge for those bigger honours. But again, it's good that we can impact the games and change the games. And I think we're ready for Anfield Sunday.
Oh, steady on. Hang on a minute. You just beat West Ham, who are down the bottom at home, and now you're ready to go to Anfield.
We're ready, mate. We're ready.
No,
we're ready,
fair
mate.
play. Like you say, you rested so many players, and I got to admit, when I seen Harry Maguire in the side, and then went 1-0 down, I thought, I love it. This just writes the script for me. How worried were you when you seen the lineup? Did you think the quad's off?
I'll be honest, I always get worried when I see Harry Maguire playing. And like I said, I'm trying my best not to make it personal, but he's just a bag of nerves every time. Even when we're trying to build up from the back and we play it to him now, I think his confidence is just shot. Like, he's not a top draw centre half anyway, but when he's low on confidence as well, I just think it's reflected so evidently in his game. He just looks like he's so unconfident, and it just unsettles everybody else around him, like Dallo and players next to him, obviously Lindelof and stuff. When Lindelof's next to Martinez or Varane, he just looks so much more relaxed and stuff. So I think it's going to be time for Maguire to move on. But we got the job done. Do you know what I mean? We set out what we needed. We did what we set out to do, which was to go through in 90 minutes with plenty of changes, plenty of legs rested. We preferably didn't want to bring Rashford on, but it looked like we needed the game rescuing at the time, and we managed to do it without him scoring as well. So that's a plus. And like I said, it's a big game on Sunday against Liverpool, who have kept 4 clean sheets in a row in the league. So they're recovering slowly, but they are recovering. Like I said, you're up to 6th, and I'm sure we'll speak about that later in the live. But it's going to be a tough game at Anfield, and we need to be ready for that.
I don't even want to look at the bookies' odds for it on Sunday now, because like you say, you've rested half your team, haven't you? So how many first teamers started today? None of the back 4, was it? Malacia, Maguire, Lindelof
and Dallo. Yeah, so that's the whole back line rested. Casemiro came on at half time. Fred came on as well, because we started Sabitzer and McTominay. And then Rashford was rested. He got like 20 minutes at the end. Sancho was ill. Vegors played, Bruno played, so they won't be fresh. But Anthony came off after about 60 minutes, so we'll be raring to go. Do you know what I mean? We'll be ready for battle. To be honest, we know what it's like going down to Anfield. It's a tough place to go, no matter what. And like you said, Liverpool, I know, barring the Real Madrid result, you're coming back into form in terms of the results, keeping clean sheets.
4 clean sheets in a row.
And like I said,
we're flattering to deceive, though. We're flattering to deceive. Like you say, we'll get on to Liverpool, but I thought this is going to be another 0-0, because Wolves didn't really threaten us at all night. But the more the game went on, I'm thinking, I feel like logging off. Yeah, logging off, because I feel like me watching it is going to jinx it.
Yeah.
But yeah, who was the Man United man of the match?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think
probably Casemiro, isn't it?
I think Garnacho. I think he probed, he huffed and puffed in the first half, and then he grew into the game. And as West Ham, the game went on, West Ham got deeper and deeper, and it just sort of gave Garnacho that space to work in. And as much as he's so directed, he likes to go on the outside. He's quite dangerous on the inside as well. He's one of those players that's got raw pace. He can strip you on the outside and can make you look really silly because you can't catch him. But then when he comes inside, like the goal, he's very dangerous as well. He likes to link with players as well. He's got a little bit of both. And I do think he is a special talent. I know he's only young, but I think he's got a massive ceiling. I think he can go far. I really do. I think he can go both ways. He's got 2 good feet. He scores goals. He provides assists. It'd be interesting to see what the stats are. I've not checked him, but like I said, for a young player, I think he's being used well by Ten Hag. He's being blooded in, not too much pressure on him. He's received some criticism as well, but I think that comes with the status that he's got. He's got a lot of pressure on him because everybody knows what sort of ability he's got. So for me, Garnacho just took man of the match for me.
We've got 4 people watching you. Big up, guys. Don't forget to smash the likes and the subscribes if you're new to the channel. Let us know in the comments what you thought of Man United and the Liverpool games, and we'll get on to everyone's comments. How old is Garnacho, and why does he not start more?
He's only 19, and this is the thing. Like, there was rumours he was going to go to the World Cup. He's already had a taste of like first team football for Argentina. I think Ten Hag had high hopes for him, and I think the reason he doesn't start is because sometimes you don't want to expose him to too much football. You don't want defenders to start sussing him out, kicking lumps out of him from an early age and sort of deter him. I think we're trying to develop him in the right way. Like, I think he's good against tired legs. Last 20, 25 minutes when you need to impact a game, he's changed a lot of games for us this year. So I think him starting in the cups when there's less pressure on him to do well, I think is the right choice at the moment. But like you said, I think come next year, he's going to play even more of a prominent part. But obviously Rashford, that's his natural position and off that left as well. So it's going to be very difficult for him to leave Rashford out. But you need a squad. You do need a squad. I think maybe sometimes you might see him popping up on the right. I don't think it's natural. Whenever him and Rashford start, Rashford normally goes to the right. So it's obvious that Ten Hag sees him as a player that likes to play in off that left-hand side. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think he's going to have a big impact from now to the end of the season in all the other competitions that we're in. He's going to get plenty of games and plenty of minutes.
Football's mad, isn't it? And I keep referencing it. Anyone that comes back to our channel, I must say it every stream. Jude Bellingham is like the finished article and the saviour of Liverpool Football Club. And he's not long 10, 19. And then when you think of other 19-year-olds like Garnacho, Bajcetic, who's come into the Liverpool first team, Harvey Elliott, Carvalho, who's not even getting a sniff. You talk about development and coaching them right and not rushing them. And it just reminds you of what an absolute freak and a beast Jude Bellingham must be.
Sometimes you're just natural born leaders, as much as it's talent and hard work and stuff like that. And sometimes it's genetics as well. I mean, look at the size of the lad. Do you know what I mean? He's 6 foot plus, an absolute beast, athletic. He's probably one of those boys at school that could just do every sport and he was the best at it. Do you know what I mean? He's probably one of those types of people. He could just do everything, long jumps, sprints, cross country, and he'd probably win every single event. And then he just took to football, and you give him a little bit of a development, and he's just way ahead of everyone. And he is a top talent, Bellingham. And I think if Liverpool get him, it's a huge coup for Liverpool. I think he'll totally revolutionize what they're trying to do there. He could be the start of something special. I think the top 4 is going to be important. Like you said, you're giving yourselves a sniff now. You've got a game in hand over Spurs. If you win on Sunday, obviously you're going to make some ground up on us. You're going to make some ground up on Spurs, potentially if they drop points as well. But you've got some big games yourself coming up. I think you've got City in the next few games as well. You've got ourselves. You've still got some big fixtures. So with 14 games to go, there's going to be plenty of twists and turns. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting from now to the end of the season who can get those 3rd and 4th spots.
I'm just looking at the league table now. We're sitting pretty in 6th. Can we share the screen? We've never done it before, have we? How do we do that?
I'm trying.
Not like that. No, I don't know how to do it. I'll figure it out. Yeah, we're 6th. 2 points off Newcastle, but we've played a game more. So it's all hotting up. But
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham, the guy is just crazy, isn't he? I bet he's one of them. When he was 15, he could have been a professional cricket player, a professional rugby player, a professional footballer, and he chose football. I bet he's one of them.
Of course he is, without a doubt.
When's the FA Cup draw?
Probably going to be after the game, after United coverage is finished. It might be tonight, or I think it'll be tonight. Yeah. Well, like you said, some big hitters have gone out. Southampton have gone out at home to League Two Grimsby. Spurs have gone out. So you've got Grimsby, Man United, Man City, Sheffield United, and then whoever went through yesterday, Leicester went out as well. So again, I
hope Man United get Man City next.
I hope we do, and I hope it's at Old Trafford because I'm confident that we can actually beat them. I'd rather probably play them before the final, to be honest with you. I mean, I think if we do draw each other, whoever wins that game is going to fancy themselves. But even now, if we avoid Man City and they just get a tough away day or something, they get caught on an off day, and we get a home draw, then again, I would fancy us to at least get to the final. So with those teams going out and the teams left, Brighton is still in it as well. So you never know. City could get like a Brighton away or something like that, and another one of those big hitters goes out. But I think the further we go into the competition, the stronger the team will get. And being in the quarterfinal, you're only 2 games away from a final. That's where you got to see it. Do you know what I mean? It's not a long way until the final at all. So we've got to start taking it seriously from now. Don't think he'll rest as many players in the next round for sure.
I'm just trying to see if it is the next round draw on Sky Sports. I can't really see it. Arsenal won again, 5 points clear. I tell you what, I'm quite glad Neo hasn't joined us on this stream because they've got 4 of the next 5 games are at home. That's 1 tonight, but 4 out of 5 games. What kind of sorcery is this fixture list?
Mate.
They'll win the 4 home games. They could end up opening up a 10-point lead. Especially
I said it. I think they'll win the league. I really do. I think they're just... Like you said, they're going from strength to strength. I know they had a little bit of a wobble, but like you said, they've come through that wobble now. They blasted Everton tonight. Another clean sheet. Saka's in the goals again. He's been unbelievable this season. And like you said, I mean, they've got to go to Anfield and they've got to go to the Etihad. But apart from that, is there anyone else that you can actually see them not beating from now to the end of the season? 14 games left. It's not, people say there's plenty of games to go, but
when you're at the top, I know they slapped them at White Hart Lane, didn't they?
Twice. They played Spurs twice, I think. Yeah.
They played Man United twice. So they've got Liverpool,
City,
Man City. Have they played Newcastle twice?
Yeah, they beat I think they have. Well, they definitely drew at home. I'm not sure if they played them away, actually. I need to double check that, actually. But
Martinelli grabbed 2 again tonight. He's finding a bit of form again because he's gone off the radar the last 3 months, hasn't he?
And it's just at the right time. It's just at the right time that they needed it as well. Because, like you said, he went off the boil a little bit. But
they were saying Trossard should have been taking his place.
Yeah, he did well today. Apparently, he was on fire. And the thing is, Gabriel Jesus is back in training as well, so he's only gonna bolster it from now to the end of the season, without doubt. I think the only positive for United being 11 points behind now in the title race. Obviously, they played a game more, but I think now they're going to prioritize. Without a doubt, I think they're going to prioritize the league, which means they'll probably rest everyone in the Europa League. So again, that's probably the only advantage I can see out of it for United. It means we could probably go further in that competition, providing
that we not to, wouldn't they? Imagine they're 5 points clear and they start trying to win the Europa League as well. Like, literally, what is the point?
Yeah,
go hammer and tongs at the league. Liverpool. I'm not going to say we're back. I've learned my lesson for
You're back again. You're back again, mate.
for the last 4 months, 5 months, every time we win. But 4 cleanies in a row, and the front 3 are scoring. That's the most encouraging thing. And I don't know how, but this Bajcetic comes in, and he's got one of the most calming influences I've ever seen on a ball. To use Jamie Redknapp's saying, he plays like he's got wing mirrors. And you're a FIFA man. You love playing FIFA. You know when you get your player and you see someone in space and you just turn away because you can see the whole vision of the pitch. That's what he's like. He makes everything look simple. And he had another great game tonight. We basically, I don't know how it's happened, but we can't function as a midfield without him in it. And that's frightening, really. And it's just
you
as well
said though when he made his debut, he needs to play all the time. He did.
Not so much he needs to play all the time, but I said to everyone, don't be surprised if you see him loads in the second half of the season. We can't burn him out. He's only just turned 18, but he was brilliant. But it's come as a timely reminder. I don't know if you've been on Twitter today, but Indy Kayla, he says that we're in for Bellingham, James Maddison, and Mason Mount. Apparently, we're going for all 3 of them. I mean, I don't even know what that would cost. I seen your cousin wrote something today, Skip. He put a price on all of them, and we've had a net spend of 30 million for the last 13 years in a row. How are we going to conjure up 250 million? Because that's what it'd be, conjuring it up like magic out of nowhere. It would be insane.
What sort of midfield do you have with those 3 though? Like we discussed in the last podcast, we was talking about needing that player that's sort of going to dictate play from deep and be that sort of deep lying sort of player, like a playmaker, but somebody who can get about and screen the back 4, sort of like a Fabinho replacement. And I don't think any of those 3 can do that on a long-term basis. I know OB said he fancied Bellingham in front of the back 4 and that, but I just don't think you really utilizing his full qualities. Bellingham's just an all-action box-to-box, can do a bit of everything. He's sort of the complete midfielder. I think he'd be wasted in that role personally. So unless you're going to play a number 10, you don't play a number 10. I see Conor Gallagher and Mount as 2 number 10s. So apart from Bellingham, I just don't think you need the other 2. I really don't. I just don't think you do.
I'm just going to give a shout out. There's 6 people watching. Hi, guys. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. Smash that like button. Smoked Him MMA podcast. He says, Arsenal look nailed on to win the league. What are we thinking? They see it through or they slip in March as usual? I just said it there. Like 4 of the next 5 games are at home. 1 was tonight and they've patterned up Everton 4-0. They win the home games. And if you want to win the league, you've got to win your home games. I'm frightened that they could build up a 8, 10, 12-point lead by like the end of March, especially with City are not looking all that.
Yeah.
Travis has nailed his mast to the post. He thinks Arsenal are going to win the league. And the more the games are getting ticked off, I think they're going to too. And it's not so much... Well, no, I was about to say it's not so much Arsenal that will deserve it or are good enough. They've been fantastic. But City, to me, are throwing it away. They're going to throw everything at the Champions League. Unfortunately for us Liverpool fans, they haven't done that for the last 4 years. They've gone toe-to-toe with us. But just the whole Zinchenko going to Arsenal, sending Cancelo out on loan. Nathan Ake is pretty much their left-back now, but they play him centre-back quite a lot. Leaving Kevin De Bruyne on the bench a couple of times in the last few games. I don't know what Pep's doing. It feels like he's experimenting or throwing his mate Arteta a bone. I've just got this feeling he wants his mate Arteta to win it. And if they win the Champions League at the same time, it'll be job done.
I think we've got to give Arsenal a bit more credit as well. I mean, we know City have dropped points and they're not quite at it, but they've set such high standards. Like you said, they've beaten you twice to the league by like a point over a couple of seasons. Like you said, they've been going absolutely hammer and tongs. And the moment they're just slightly off it, Arsenal have just been so consistent. And it's not something that you normally associate with an Arsenal team. Like you said, I mean, as Smoke Tim's just said, in March, per usual, will they do their normal slip up? to me, it looks like Arsenal have gone up a level. I know last year they were clear towards the top 4. I think they had like 4 games left and they were like 7 points clear, and they blew it when they lost to Spurs and they had a game in hand. But
yeah,
to
but
me,
I think it was different to this, wasn't it? They just looked so solid. And I always liken it to, I've said this on a few streams, if I can name an Arsenal team, then they must be doing well. And I can. I know they're 11 now.
Yeah.
And I know if they've dropped a Trossard in or a Jorginho in, I look at it and think, I wonder if they'll drop. I wonder if that'll upset the balance. But that's how good they are, is that they're solid 11 and they're just the smoking teams.
Yeah.
They really are. They got over that little blip after the transfer window shut.
Man City and stuff like that when they lost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they shouldn't have lost. Shouldn't have drew to Brentford, should they?
Yeah,
that was a crazy disallowed goal. Or no, sorry, Brentford shouldn't have been allowed. It was offside, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think smoked him? Do you think they're gonna? Sorry to put you on the spot. Do you think they're actually going to see it through yourself? And who do you support? So we know if you're an unbiased comment. But yeah, Travis, Liverpool, and getting linked with pretty much every midfielder on the planet at the minute. To answer your question of, what kind of midfielder and what kind of shape, I think it comes down to this front 6 that we've got, because we brought Gakpo in. We've got Diaz coming back from injury. Nunez, Jota, Firmino, Salah. That's 6 players in the front 3. Yeah. I've got a feeling we're going to be going down the route of a Manchester United 4-2-3-1. And obviously it's working for Man United, having Casemiro and Eriksen in there, or Casemiro and Fred.
Yeah.
And unless we are getting rid of Luis Diaz, which I've tipped since January, since we signed Gakpo, and there's been a few rumours that we want to swap him for Rafael Leao.
Wow.
Luis Diaz and money. I think that's insane. He's like the jewel in our crown now that Salah's 30 and gone off the boil a little bit. So we can't rush him back fast enough. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a change in formation, and we try to fit them 4 of them 6 into the front 4 and then have just 2 monster CMs. I mean, obviously the dream for me would be Bellingham and Declan Rice, but I've not seen any report linkers with Declan Rice, and they're both going to be 100 million plus, so we'd never get both of them anyway. But Matheus Nunes continues to be linked with us, and he looked a talent tonight. He looked like a real man. It was a man against boys sometimes, and I noticed that Bajcetic got a yellow card against Nunes, which I remember when we played Wolves in the FA Cup, we beat him 1-0 in the replay, and Nunes come off the bench and Bajcetic put a bit on him a couple of times. And you know what it's like when your club's linked with a player. If we got him, it would hamper Bajcetic's
You ain't
progress.
coming anywhere near this club, one of those tackles.
Basically, like, I tell you what, Jurgen, watch this. I'll stick a bit on him, see if he fancies it. So yeah, he got a yellow card today. So, but all these players, we're not going to get all of them. But if the rumours are to be believed, James Maddison, I'd have him in a heartbeat. Mason Mount, not for me. Matheus Nunes, Moise Caicedo is going to be doing the rumours again come the summer as well. Where he goes, nobody knows. And then obviously Jude Bellingham, which, depending what report you read, he's absolutely nailed on certainty to come to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I'm worried for him. I've said before, I'd probably shed a tear if he signed. I really would. The way this season's gone, and we're waving off. I'll shed a tear when Oxlade-Chamberlain leaves. I'll shed a tear. Tears of happiness when Naby Keita leaves. James Milner needs to move on to the coaching staff. So that's 3 positions, 3 wages that are going to be freed up in the squad for 3 other players, hopefully, if we've got the capital to put it down and buy the players. But Jude Bellingham wouldn't be enough. We would have to follow up with at least 1 more, potentially 2, to really reinvigorate that midfield. I was talking to my mate Sam on the text today, and he was questioning the defence, and he said, look, no matter what we say, Virgil van Dijk is a million miles off the standard, his standard, and everyone can see that. And when he's one of your best players and he's been a monster for the last 5 years, you do look at them a little bit more, don't don't you? When they're
of
playing and
course.
thinking, come
It's
on,
more
let me
noticeable.
see. It's more noticeable. So when I was watching him again tonight, it's just not him. It's not him. The way he runs next to players, it's almost like, I mean, I've said it before. It's almost like he's too cool to challenge. Do you know if that makes sense? He's like too cool.
Arrogant, like an arrogance.
Arrogant, yeah. But now it looks like he's standing off. Like I look at him and think, get stuck in, leave a bit on him, put him up in the air, win the ball. He's all a bit lackadaisical, a little bit slow. It looks a little bit sluggish, I've got to admit. And I'm worried about him. But I did say to my mate Sam, and you know better than anyone, Travis, when we were at the top of our game, 2018 to 2020, I kept saying to you, our biggest asset is the midfield. They shield the defense and they load the bullets for the front three. It's no surprise to me that now we haven't got a function in midfield, that the front three are not firing as much. Obviously, Mane's gone and Firmino's injured, so it is a bit of a transition. And also the defense are looking a bit ragged at times and conceding goals. I've honestly, with all the hope in my heart anyway, think if we shout out the midfield, it will massively, massively help the defense and it'll make them look better. They won't be getting peppered like 4-on-4 I've mentioned before, which there's so many games where, like you say, it's 4-on-4. You think, where's the CDM or even the midfield helping them? It's literally Gomez and Van Dijk, Matip. Tonight was Kanate, who done all right. Not the best. He looked like he had an error or two in him tonight. And I thought, please, God, you're just back from injury. Let's have a nice quiet night. But he got ragged about a little bit, but got in some good challenges. But this defense will look better with a function in midfield because we'll get our inverted fullbacks back. Do you know what I mean? Like I've said, Zinchenko plays left midfield at the minute or left of a three-man midfield. He doesn't have to play left back because Arsenal has so much on the front foot. That used to be Robertson and Trent.
Yeah.
And it's now they're like proper fully fullbacks. Getting roasted in defensive situations with no cover. There's not a Henderson helping out or a Thiago helping out or to answer your question, I think we'll see a change in shape. Smoked Him has just replied. Let's see what he says. Haha, you know who I support, Scott. It's Charms. Yes, Charms from Two Blues undercover. I'm getting the feeling Arsenal are solid enough to see it through. I'm just still finding it very hard to believe. Yes, Charms. Thanks for joining us, mate. I sent the link to Dan earlier. You're welcome to jump on, mate. Get him to send the link and come on and let's have a 20-minute chat. But
I can understand his pessimism, to be honest. I can understand his pessimism because, like you said, Arsenal always sort of get to this stage and it always falls, but it feels so different this year. Like you said, I mean, the one thing Arsenal have always sort of been associated with in individual games is not being able to kill games off. And when I saw them go 1-0 up today, I thought, not that it was going to go to one each, but are they going to make it difficult for themselves? But no, they're just putting teams away now, 2s, 3s, and 4s. You can tell they're absolutely serious about this title challenge, and it feels different from the previous 2 years for sure. I think, like you said, they've gone. The incline was from Arteta's first season to his second season was steady. I know they dropped off at the end. But the jump from last season to this season is just huge. Like it's just so out there. Like I don't think anyone can believe it. I don't even think people put them to finish in the top 4 in a lot of people's like sort of predictions at the start of the season. So to go on to win the league would just be an absolutely unbelievable achievement. I know they've spent money, but like at the end of the day, he's new to management. Do you know what I mean? He's never had to manage before. I know he's come from sort of like the Pep school of education and stuff, and you can see some traits from Pep Guardiola, but you could see like from his documentary, The All or Nothing and stuff, he just don't take any crap at all. Like he's a very strong-minded manager. He makes his own decisions. Yeah, he's had to deal with a lot of things like the Aubameyang, the Lacazette situation. He's dealt with a lot, turning sort of Jacques around when he fell out of love with the fans and stuff, got him back on side. So he's probably not got enough credit that he actually deserves. But there's still, like you said, there's still a little bit of time to go. If they can win 4 out the next 5 home games, that will take it like to 10 games, 9 games left. Then we'll start to see the pressure. We'll see where City are at that time as well. City have got to go to Anfield Or are they at the Etihad? No, they're at the Etihad. Liverpool, aren't they? And City, that's coming up within the next few games. And obviously Liverpool play Man United, Arsenal. I've got a few tough games in there as well. So it's still all to play for. As I've said, I don't think Man United are going to challenge Arsenal now with an 11-point gap. I just think it's too much of a big ask for them to lose like 3 or 4 from now to the end of the season. I can't see that happening. City, I've got an outside chance. Depends how serious they take it. But Arsenal got the points on the board and they're in the driving seat.
Absolutely. And the thing is, when you say no one fancied them in the summer, it's easy with hindsight to say that, isn't it? Because they bought, obviously, Aaron Ramsdale. No one else was linked with him. He's turned out a decent keeper. They bought the Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, seen as City cast-offs. Ben White from Brighton. No one else was paying 50 million for Ben White. So when you look at it, in individuals, it was easy to think, they might improve. They might
for sure
get in the top 4. But the way that Arteta has pieced it all together, but it's a sad day when me, a Liverpool fan, is looking at Arsenal like the blueprint, because people have always looked at Liverpool as the blueprint with their low net spend in the last 5 years. But now I always look at Arsenal, it's that midfield. And that
Odegaard's the glue.
Odegaard, Partey, and even Xhaka. I don't know where this Xhaka has been the last 5 years, but this is like a new Xhaka. But he's obviously got the confidence from Partey and Odegaard as well. But them three supporting the front three, like our centre mid Justa of Wijnaldum, Fabinho and Henderson, as well as protecting the back 4, which allows Zinchenko to play on the inside left in that midfield and not even bother being a left back. It's easy to see, and it's because they're box to box.
Yeah.
When I watch Liverpool, Henderson is not bursting into the box. Thiago's not bursting into the box. Bajcetic is not bursting in the box. Harvey Elliott, he tries his best, but he's not bursting in the box. And it's easy to watch Arsenal. They're probably my second favourite team to watch.
Yeah.
Purely for entertainment. But when it breaks down, they're back. They're back at their own box. Odegaard's back. He's like a fantastic athlete.
That's the youth in the side, though. Like, do you know what I mean? You take those risks. Like, you say to yourself, well, sometimes with youth, you don't have as much experience as you would like, and there's a fine balance. And like you said, this is the first time where they sort of have got the balance right in terms of, I know Zinchenko and Jesus came, and they've still got the youth, but they've got the experience of winning stuff under City. So that's why there was really astute signings, because they've gone in and they've sort of galvanized that dressing room in terms of that winning mentality now. And like you said, they can afford to burst into the box and get back, because they're all of an age and athleticism where they can go box to box and it doesn't have an impact on them. Special mention to Saka as well, who they've done it without a striker, really. Like, Saka's productivity this year in terms of goals and assists, it's an absolute joke, to be honest. Like, it just seems like he scores every game. He might as well be a striker, mate, because he just every time Arsenal score, he bags or he creates a goal. I think he created a couple tonight and scored one. He's just like, since missing that penalty in that tournament for England, and he took a lot of flack, he's just come back like just a newborn man, mate. He's just an absolute monster in terms of his mentality, what he's had to go through and come back and produce the performances that he has. I just respect him so much as a player. But he's so level-headed. When you hear him speak as well, like, every game's just like, he doesn't ever get ahead of himself. He's just so focused. It's just like everything's team orientated. It's all about the next game. It's all about moving on. And he does it with a smile on his face. He just looks like he enjoys his football. And I think he's a great player.
You can't discount as well the fitness of the Arsenal squad. They've hardly had any injuries, which plays such a key role when you're trying to go for the league, to have that consistency. And again, obviously, I can name the Arsenal team for the first time in about 10 years. Yeah. And they've been lucky with injuries, but you take it, don't you? If that was Liverpool, Saka would be out for a month here and there, like Luis Diaz has been out, and Martinelli would be out, like Jota was out, and the midfield, Odegaard would be out, like Thiago's out, and they just don't seem to have it. And obviously they've done the right thing in reinforcing in January. And
I tell you what, they have been unlucky with VAR. They keep getting stung on that. So it sort of balances itself out. Like they've had quite a few decisions that have gone against them that shouldn't have in games that have cost them points and cost them potential points. I know earlier in the season, Newcastle at home, they could have had a couple of penalties in that game. Like you said, it generally tends to even itself out. But like you said, they must be doing something really well with the fitness, with the players. The only players that really get injuries are the players that picked up injuries anyway, like Kieran Tierney and Partey. They get injured all the time. But the rest of the squad's pretty much stayed fit all season, hasn't it? So yeah, you're right with that one, definitely.
But it's starting to look shrewd business as well, isn't it? With Trossard and Jorginho, especially when you see how Mudryk is getting on. It's very good bullet there. I don't know if Charms is still with us. Dan was on the other night saying he's going to give Mudryk a good 18 months before judging him or writing him off. But right now, Arsenal are looking pretty pleased with themselves that they didn't spend close to 100 million on Mudryk.
How have Chelsea let Jorginho go to Arsenal? I don't understand it. Like they were crying out for covering midfield, and a direct London rival has just strengthened them. I just don't understand it. Like it's not like Chelsea's midfield's pulling up any trees either, is it? Like
I think it'd purely be a case of size of the squad. Like all these players they were bringing in, I think there would have been a few chopped for the right price. I think Gallagher would have went. Mason Mount might have gone, and a few others.
To Arsenal.
Yeah, but Arsenal are not a rival of theirs right now, is there? They might not have wanted to strengthen Newcastle or Liverpool if they had any ambition to make top four, but I think they've even given up on that now. We've got 7 people watching. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you watched Liverpool against Wolves or Manchester United against West Ham. Let us know how lucky you think Man United were, or if they made their own luck with some quality substitutions.
Has the draw happened?
I don't know. Are you better on Sky Sports than me? I don't know where to look. I'm on football now.
Maybe not.
I don't think it is. But yeah, back to the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
We had a goal ruled out for VAR as well. And it was at that point I thought this is going to be that night that I'm talking about. It's going to be a 0-0. Jota kind of scrambled through the box and the ball ran away from him, but 2 defenders slipped.
Yeah.
And that's when it come to Nunes. He just rolled it under his boot and curled it in the bottom corner. But when you seen the VAR and they slowed it down, Jota kicked like the back of one of the defenders' calf.
So it was the right decision.
It was the right decision. And I just thought, me and my daughter were jumping around the living room like, yes. And then when I seen that kick, I was like, oh, sit down, sweetheart. This is going to be ruled out. And it was right to be ruled out. But thankfully, we got the win in the end. We got.
I just want to talk about with you actually, like Liverpool's front 6. Like when everyone's fit, who do you see as like your main front 3? Who would you say is your main front 3 at the moment?
There's a reason why Nunes is getting blooded on the left, and I mentioned it 20 minutes ago, and I mentioned it on my December mini Cody Gakpo signing video. I am absolutely convinced that Luis Diaz is being sold for upwards of 100 million to Barcelona or Real Madrid. That will pay for Bellingham, and that's the reason why we brought Cody Gakpo in. And I think Cody Gakpo is getting blooded as the successor to Bobby Firmino in the centre, which is why Nunes is getting blooded on the left. But if we had a cup final next Saturday and everyone's fit, I would say that it'd be Diaz on the left, Nunes in the centre, and Salah on the right. But the more that I think about the front 6 that we've got, and obviously Firmino's been injured for time. I think he's back now. Jota's been injured. I don't think Jota's ever going to settle fully into this team. No, he always seems to be on the periphery, and he can do a job on the left. He can do a job in the centre. But I could see him being one. If we got a decent offer, upwards of maybe 50, 60 million to go to a quality top 4 side, I think he'd be happy to go. But it would be one when you talk about, we haven't got many players to sell to keep the net spend down, or we talk about selling Nat Phillips or the keeper Kelleher. I think Jota would come into the equation. because he's never fully settled, and him as well. He has his injury problems. We can't.
I don't think he's got the pace
to.
I don't think he's got the pace to play in them wider roles. Like when he was at Wolves and he played central and he played with Jimenez, he sort of played in and around Jimenez and made runs in behind, but from central areas. I don't know. Liverpool don't really play that way. Like your central strikers aren't really running in behind at every sort of opportunity. They like to drop off a lot and let the wide forwards make the inside runs from out to win. I think that's why Núñez is sort of so effective on the left as well, because he makes those sort of diagonal runs from the left into the centre and creates his chances that way. I don't know what Núñez is like as a central player, because I know a lot of the Liverpool fans, especially on Twitter, are crying out for him to start games centrally. But I don't know what he's sort of, not his link-up play necessarily, but do you know, with his back to goal when he has to hold it up and bring players in, I don't know what he's like at that. I think his link-up's good coming in off the left when he's playing little 1-2s and he's blitzing people for pace and he's getting in behind that way. I think he's effective. And I think his movement off the ball is so good. His movement is so good. Making diagonal runs from out to win, and he's a problem in that sense. But I don't know what he's like as a central striker, backing into defenders, sort of that physical element in terms of like playing up against centre halves. I'd like to see him in that sense as well and see what he's like in that way. And
we probably will, like you say, when Luis Diaz is back. Luis Diaz is going to play, Núñez is going to play, and Salah's going to play. You've got to be honest with it. You got to look at it. Them three are absolutely going to start. So that means Núñez is going to be in the central, surely. But at the start of the season, it was almost like playing Núñez in the centre. It was almost like a bit of an experiment that Jurgen Klopp quickly realised wasn't going to work, and it doesn't fit our style or what's made us successful in the last 5 years. And it was almost like he's Cody Gakpo is now going to be the Firmino successor, to drop deep, to allow them wide players to cut in on the inside, which Salah and Mane always used to do. So it will be interesting to see. Basically, it's the big question mark is when Luis Diaz is fit again. How's he going to fit them in? Who's going to be playing where? What's the shape? And then, we're talking about Jota and where he can and can't play, and what's going to happen with Núñez and Diaz. But where does that leave Cody Gakpo? He really could be the odd man out, but Klopp must have a plan for him. Hence, we've only just bought him.
I think so. I think, like you said, have you got enough depth, like from the academy or anything, in order to be able to get rid of Jota and Diaz? Or do you think only one of those will go this summer? Or Firmino as well? Because like you said, he could be surplus. I think, like you said, it just needs tidying up, doesn't it? I think the plan going forward, like you said, is going to be, if Diaz goes, it's going to be Gakpo, Núñez and Salah. That's going to be the main ones. And then underneath that, I'm not sure. Like you said, Jota could be surplus. Firmino could be surplus. How old's Firmino now?
I think he's just turned 31.
So his value's sort of diminishing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's in the last 4 months of his contract as well. So unless he signs a new contract, but he's worthless in terms of selling him.
Yeah.
If he signs a new deal, he'll either walk out this summer or he'll sign a 2-year deal. I think that's the way it'll go. But I was thinking about like watching it tonight, and we're struggling for a goal. Where's that spark going to come from? And it got me thinking, we haven't really got any cult heroes left. You know, like a player that will come off the bench, and not that he's like a cartoon character, but a bit of like, he's come on, he's crap, but he's done the business again, like a Divock Origi.
Mate, he was so important for you. How many big goals did he score? So many.
Massive. Yeah, all important goals. Or even Minamino. Minamino wouldn't get much of a sniff, but then he'd get a start out of nowhere and score a goal or two, be it in the League Cup final, or he'd come on in the league, not the League Cup final, in the League Cup. I remember he got a few against Leicester. And that's the thing, that if all 6 of them are fit, of course, there isn't a problem. We've got options there to rotate and try different shape and stuff. But no, in terms of coming through, we've got the young lad Ben Doak, He's a real big prospect. He scored a couple midweek, I think, for the under 21s or the reserves. And then after that, not really. There's not much more coming through. You're kind of moving on to your Harvey Elliott. Is he a midfielder? Is he a front three? Fabio Carvalho, who's been completely froze out the last 3 months. I don't think he's even had any minutes. But he could potentially be in the front three, or if he's seen more as a midfielder. So I don't know. So unless FSG are going to stump up this $250 million, like Twitter's saying it's gonna, there might have to be casualties. It might be Luis Diaz. It might be Jota, who's just ended up being a square peg in a round hole, never really found his true position. And that would mean that Firmino would sign a 2-year deal to be the 4th, 5th choice striker. And we're now relying on Gakpo a little bit more. And we start to see the reason why we bought him.
If someone came to you now and said you can get rid of Firmino and Jota for like 30-35 million, Firmino goes on a free up the wages and stuff, Ben Doak gets a promotion and it means you get Bellingham and Caicedo, you would do it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Of course you would. Because, I mean, if you look at what United are doing now, I know we bought Anthony, but everyone was crying out for us to get Gakpo as well, and we've not done that, and we're now using Garnacho. So sometimes you just have to use what's in your squad and be brave and give them a chance. And Klopp normally does do that. Do you know what I mean? He's done it with Trent. He's done it with a couple of other boys. Bajcetic now. He used Nat Phillips when there was an injury crisis. So there's players that sort of have come through the ranks that he's used. And he shouldn't be afraid to do it again. I think you're in a position now where you can sort of take that little bit of a hit. Especially with so many front players who aren't going to get minutes next year. It's pretty obvious, like you said, with Firmino's contract situation and stuff. I think now's the time to sort of do that. If you're prioritizing midfield as the position that you really need to strengthen and you need funds in there, I think you could be in a position to let a couple go, because Firmino has had a good start to this season. Actually, he was scoring a lot of goals and stuff, and then he just got injured and he's never got back into the team. I just don't think he's.
And that's why it's easy to. That's why it's easy to accept the terms and conditions you've just laid out, because Firmino's pretty much been injured for 6 months now.
Yeah,
he's out of contract in 4 months' time. I'm not saying it's like he's already left, and I'd be happy if he signed another contract. To be honest, I really rate him, and he would be 4th, 5th choice. But what you've just laid out and how desperate we are for them midfield reinforcements, and I don't think you could get a much better 2 signings than Caicedo and Jude Bellingham.
Yeah,
would be cooking. I'd be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, it'd be huge for you, and I think now is the time to sort of do that. I don't know much about that Ben Doak, but if he's a good prospect, pre-season as well is the ideal time. Like we saw that this season with Garnacho in pre-season. Had a good pre-season. I was like, yeah, he's ready to go in the first team. Just don't go and buy Gakpo. We don't really need him. We need a centre forward. Go and use Garnacho. That's what I was crying out for, and we went and did that, and it seems to be working at the moment. I think Liverpool need to sort of do the same, prioritize the midfield, get a couple of top players in, because I think Liverpool sort of need that little bit of aura back that they've lost. I'm not saying they've lost all of it, but they've lost that. Do you know when you're in the tunnel and you look across and you see a couple of big names? I think if you see Bellingham and Caicedo as an opposition midfielder, you're thinking, I'm in for a long day. Do you know what I mean? I think you've sort of lost that. That's what you had when you had like Eugenie Wijnaldum and Fabinho and his pomp and stuff. You think, we're not going to get a minute's peace in this game.
The thing is, we'd sign them and they both do their ACL then a week later. That's the kind of luck we get. Like, I just want a nice, strong midfielder that's going to go 4 seasons in a row without missing a game, like Gini Wijnaldum.
Yeah.
That's all I want from our next couple of midfield signings. Just can't be doing with anyone that's injury prone or.
Have you noticed anything different with the way Klopp's trying to play, like in these last few games, or do you think he's still trying to play the same way, but in like a limited fashion with the players that he's got? Or
no, whenever I watch us play, it just looks like we're bereft of confidence. I don't know if you've seen that video doing the rounds on Twitter of, I think it was Trent Arnold playing the ball into the feet of Henderson, and it was the easiest 1-2 ever to lay it off, and we're on the attack. He turned back inside and played it all the way back to the central defender. And tonight, when you watch that, it's again, like I say, when you're playing FIFA and you can see the whole pitch and just play it there and you do it, we're not taking them balls. We're playing it back and playing it safe. And you're thinking, where's that risk versus reward? That's what made Liverpool. But you've got Salah kind of scratching around looking for the ball.
He's not getting the service shot.
He's not getting the service. Nunez, Jota was kind of labouring a little bit. But it's just, it's that confidence to have that fluidity, which I keep mentioning back to Arsenal. They've got all the confidence and fluidity. Football looks so easy to them. And at the minute, for Liverpool, it looks difficult. It looks laboured. It looks like it was going to be another 0-0 all the way.
Yeah.
My man Jose is in the comments. Jose, I put the StreamYard link in our group chat. Come on if you're free, brother. But yeah, I don't know where this leaves us in terms of Man United on Sunday. What can you say? 4 clean sheets in a row. We've won 3 and drew 1. So that's 10 points from possible 12. How do you see it? And I'm not going to record this and turn it into a short if we beat us.
What, the top 4 race or the game?
No, just the game. Like, you must be buzzing. You've rested half your team. You got all your Casemiros, Varans, Martinez is fresh for Sunday. We've played our full strength again just to try and get a bit of rhythm, a bit of confidence. So we're going to be goosed a lot more than you will be. You must be rubbing your hands together, surely. If ever there was a time to get 3 points at Anfield, this is it. Come on.
Nah.
Admit it. Come on.
Nah, like you said, like I said, we've got every chance to go into Anfield and getting 3 points. Like you said, there's not going to be a better time for us to go to Anfield in terms of the confidence level, but Anfield's just a dodgy ground, mate. It's just like it can swallow you up. I know what it's like, mate. I've watched so many games where we've been on flames. We go there and we get beat, or like we've gone there in poor form and we've nicked the John O'Shea with 10 men, one of those 91st minute and stuff. So I know what it's like. So, like you said, I'm confident. I am confident. I'm not necessarily confident we'll go there and definitely win, but I'm confident with how we're playing. I'm confident that we can shut you out and not necessarily keep a clean sheet, but limit the chances. And really, like you said, I think we going into that game positive, believing that we can win that game for sure. And I think we've got the players to go and win it and cause you problems. But you're going to cause us problems as well with the pace of Nunez and stuff like that. And like I said, we've just got to handle those moments in the game where it's going to be really hostile and the crowd are up and every sort of decision, every time the ball goes out and the Anfield crowd get up and stuff. And we've got to show a temperament at Anfield that we can handle that occasion. I think that's going to be the main thing. I think Casemiro being in there is just huge for us in terms of the experience now. So yeah, I'm going into the game confident, but anything can happen. It's Derby day and Liverpool are not going to make it easy for United at all.
I can safely say that Jurgen Klopp won't change how he sets up. He never has in 6 years for anyone, even when we were in the mud and we had no centre-backs in 2021. Can you say the same on Sunday? Do you think Ten Hag might switch from a 4-2-3-1 to a more conservative 4-3-3 and maybe drop in a Casemiro, Fred, and a McTominay, and then just have 3 up front? Maybe, I tipped Weghorst to start the cup final, and you thought he might not, but I thought he will. He's his go-to guy. He started again tonight. He's either a big fan of Weghorst, or he knows he's only here for 6 months, so he's just working him into the ground.
Oh, without a doubt, I think he'll go the same front 4, but I think Weghorst will be probably the one that will occupy your centre backs, because like you said, if Klopp's not going to change and your fullbacks like to push on, then we're just going to have to use Anthony and Rashford on the counter-attack in wide areas. I think that's where we'll try and win the game, in the wider areas of the pitch with Rashford and Anthony. I think Bruno will play in the middle, and we've got to be brave on the ball. We've got to be willing to sort of keep the ball. I think Fred will play the game as well. I think it'll be the same team that starts the cup final, but I think Rashford and Weghorst will switch in the game. And Rashford will play wide and Bruno will go back in the middle for the game.
Jose, how you doing, brother?
Very good, and thank you for having me, my man.
Pleasure to have you on, mate. How did your stream go?
Yeah, I did well. Yeah, had a lot of people watching. About 3,000 views, I think. I did
Nice.
well, and I just thought I'd come along to say hello to you guys and just give my thoughts about Liverpool game. I did watch Man United for a little bit as Liverpool just before Liverpool started, and then at half time, West Ham looked good. You know, the beat that I was watching, you know, West Ham looked good. But then you knew that, you know, if Man United gets a goal back, they got the mentality the minute, they got the confidence as well. And you knew that they had to start some changes, as they had made a lot of changes before the game. And yeah, apparently they won 3-1. I did not see as I watched Liverpool, and then I was live already. Going with Liverpool performance, it wasn't a great performance today, but big 3 points. I think Liverpool win today will give them confidence going ahead against Manchester United, a big derby game, history, the biggest game in England. You know, Liverpool Man United has always been the biggest game in the UK. It doesn't matter what. Forget City, forget Man United against City, Liverpool against Everton. This is the biggest game we're talking about Sunday, and it's gonna be a massive, massive game. As a neutral fan, I can't wait, but it's hard to predict because Man United looked, as we know, for me, they have been in the last few months the best English club, probably with Napoli, and I would say Barcelona, but because, you know, we've just lost in La Liga, Man United as well. I would say in the last few months, I think Napoli is a different level of everyone in Europe this season, but I would say Man United come after Napoli. In the last few months, Man United has been the best team in the
whole of Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. After Napoli, I would say Man United.
You happy with that, Travis?
Oh, very happy are how good Napoli have been this season. They're absolutely romping the Serie A. I think they're like are they 16 points clear or something? Something ridiculous.
Nah, 18.
18, yeah, 18, yeah, 18, yeah. So they're a dark horse for the Champions League. I'm telling you that they've already got a good away lead, 2-0 away in the first leg, so they should go through in that game comfortably. And I think they're going to be dark horses for the Champions League, especially with Osimhen up front scoring goals at will. Really, you wouldn't want to draw them over a 2-legged tie, especially with the second leg being at Napoli either. So they're going to be dark horses for the competition. But like you said, I think that big credit to Football Ferreira to saying that we're second behind Napoli in terms of form, because we sort of deserve it. We've worked hard. There's still a lot of work to do in terms of how the team's going to look in terms of its end products. But with what we've sort of got, I say with what we've got a good squad, and it's a deep squad. But like the fact that we've not had a proper centre forward all season and stuff, we're sort of making do in that sense. And I think we're just going to go from strength to strength.
I hate it, but yeah, I can't agree more. Even tonight, Jose, when West Ham went 1-0 up, I was saying to Travis, I wish I'd put £10 on them to win, because I knew they were still going to win. I knew they'd come back. Even when it get to 75 minutes and it was still 1-0.
Yeah, 78th minute we equalised, yeah.
But did you watch Liverpool then, Jose? I take it you did, if that was your stream.
Yeah.
What did you think when Jota fouled the defender and Nunes had his goal?
You know what? I did say that. Of course, I brought that up on my live stream, and I said that is a 50-50, because yes, you saw Jota. He basically was on Wolves defender's name. I forgot his name. Dawson.
Dawson.
Yeah.
Dawson. Yeah, he did touch his ankle and made he fell. But it's a 50-50. If the ref would have give, I wouldn't agree. And if he does allowed, so I mean, it's a hard one. To be honest, it's a 50-50.
Did you think it was going to be 0-0 for Liverpool as well?
No. Do you know what? I thought after that, you saw the reaction. I actually like to see that reaction, that there's a large goal. And then when Liverpool got 1-0 up, that's it. It was over, because, you know, Wolves hasn't got a bad squad, but they haven't got an hour up. And you knew that Wolves wouldn't score unless, from a big mistake. But Liverpool had the game under control. Liverpool was dominating the game, but it wasn't that, domination that, you see Liverpool create a lot of chances. In the first half, you probably had one. I think that was a cross from Nunez, Elliot's header, was it? I think in the first half. Apart from that, was a boring one. I thought Fabinho was brilliant in the first half.
Yeah.
But, I know you've been lack of midfield. Your midfield, it has been your biggest problem this season. But I thought Fabinho, he really stepped into that. I thought he was brilliant in that first half. Overall, I gave him man of the match. I'm not sure if you agree with that. But, yeah, he was man of the match today. And, then the second half, Liverpool reaction in the second half. This is the reaction that you need. After that, there's a lot of goal. You scored 2 goals in in the space of 4 or 5 minutes. Van Dijk and then Salah. That's the reaction Anfield wants. You as a Liverpool fan, that's the reaction you want to. Like against Real Madrid, you was winning 2-0, right? Then Madrid got 1 goal back. You never had a reaction then. And this is the kind of reaction you miss a lot this season. Yes, your biggest injury has been in midfield. You've been having a lot of injury. You slowly get everyone back. Like for me, Jota was to Jota today. I thought Jota was poor in the first half, but he really stepped in as well in the second half. For Jota was really good. Some of his runs as well. The connection with Nunez. Like Nunez can play everywhere. Nunez can play up front. He can play in the left. He can play in the right. And that, he brings something into Liverpool, especially having Diogo Jota now back and also Firmino. He's bringing something into Liverpool where, like Klopp rest Gap today, and I thought Klopp did well resting Gakpo because Gakpo playing for Liverpool and got straight into the team, playing game and week in, week out, playing like 3 games every 8 days. That did not help him. And now seeing Diogo Jota coming back and also Firmino will give him time to get to know the club better as well, the league, everyone. And yeah, I thought it wasn't a great performance, let's be honest, but I think Liverpool did enough to win. And yeah, big 3 points for them. They're in the rest of top 4. I think Liverpool can finish top 4, but they cannot afford to drop any more points.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it makes Sunday even bigger, which it always does when we play Man United anyway. Like you say, it's the biggest game in the league, certainly if you're a Man United and Liverpool fan anyway. But we've ground out another 3 points. And I think us kicking towards the Kop in that second half, it was like they wouldn't accept that we were going to see out another boring 0-0, especially after Saturday night against Crystal Palace. Just so thankful we got the result in the end, and that'll give us so much confidence going into Man United. Do I think we'll have enough to get the 3 points against Man United? I don't know. I really don't know. And it's because I don't know which Liverpool are going to turn up. Is it going to be the Liverpool that went 2-0 up against Real Madrid? Or is it going to be the Liverpool that conceded 5 goals against Real Madrid? Because they were like 2 different sides in that match. And that was just in one match. So the Anfield crowd, as Travis says, it's going to make such a difference. And it could be the decider. You never know. You never know.
It's going to be tough. I think, like you said, you normally rise to the occasion in those big games. You've already beat City this year at home. So it proves on the day Liverpool are an absolute menace. And I think it's going to be a tough game. I don't know. Like I said, I think we're going to go there to win the game. It's a little bit of a free hit with sort of Liverpool being so far behind United, and we've got a little bit of a breathing space between Spurs and Newcastle. All those Spurs are on the up and have put a little bit of a run together. But I'd be very disappointed, win, lose or draw on Sunday if Man U weren't to get top 4 from this position now. So like you said, we're going to go there.
You're getting top 4.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So I think do you know what I mean? I think we'll go there full of confidence. Just going out to try and win the game. Obviously, we'll have a tactical game plan, and Ten Hag will know what he needs to do in that game. But I think we can go there and just try and win the game and just try and put as much pressure on second place as possible.
The only player we really rested was Andy Robertson. Or you could say Gakpo, as Jose just said. He's rested Gakpo. I think Gakpo's started every game since he come to England. But Tsimikas didn't do great at left back. he's not a worthy understudy to Robertson. Did you think that, Jose? I thought Tsimikas at left back struggled, and I can't wait to get Andrew Robbo back in.
Especially in that first half as well. Do you know, he made a good run, good assist as well for Salah goal, but I didn't think he was brilliant today. I thought if Wolves had enough power up front, anyone like any goods in a wing, in left wing, Liverpool would probably had more problems today. But surely Robertson will be back. Would you start the front three against Man United the same you start today?
It's a really tough one. It's a tough one. I was just saying to Travis before you come on, Jota is kind of the square peg in a round hole. He's never really settled into this Liverpool side and made a position his own. So he's kind of always the easy one to leave out. So, yeah, I think you'll go for Núñez on the left, Gakpo in the centre and Salah on the right. I think he might have had one eye on Sunday's game by resting Gakpo. Like you said, he's played a lot of football since he come to England. So, yeah. But the big question is, before you come on, is when Luis Diaz is back. Luis Diaz is definitely going to start. He's the jewel in our crown. Núñez is going to start. Salah's going to start. Where does that leave Gakpo? Where does it leave Jota? Where does it leave Firmino, who might be leaving on a free in the summer? So, yeah, there's a lot of questions. And, yeah, Sunday, I think he'll go Núñez, Gakpo, Salah. I think the midfield is more a question. It's more the midfield.
As well, yeah. I cannot see him. Do you know, Stefan is very young. He's only 18? I think he's a big talent. I really like Stefan. I think he's a really good player and he's young. But today, some of the balls he's given away, you cannot give that away to Bruno Fernandes, Rashford and stuff, because these guys would damage you. These guys are confident at the minute. Any ball they get anywhere, they're going to damage you anytime. And he will probably most likely bring Fabinho, Henderson, and because that's why he rests Henderson as well today. So he most likely will start with Fabinho, Henderson, maybe Elliott, because obviously Thiago Alcantara is not back as well. So he will drop Stefan for Henderson. Up front, a tough call, but probably Gakpo, because Gakpo rests today. But in my opinion, honestly, as a neutral fan, if I was a Liverpool fan, I would start the same front three today, because I just thought, he did them big time today, especially in the first half, to connect. But the second half, they was brilliant. I thought the movement between them, breaking lines, you saw Núñez. I don't know, you probably remember, of course, you watched the game. Núñez dropping to the right for around 10 minutes. And you could tell the way Jota was dropping as well into the midfield, because in the first half, that midfield was lost apart from Fabinho. And I thought they were brilliant in the second half. And in my opinion, do you know what? I want Liverpool to beat Man United, just because nothing against Man United, but because I want to see Liverpool finish top 4, because that was my predictions before the season. And I'm that kind of people. I always want to get it right. The same with you guys. You guys always want to get it right. Most of the times you do get it, but I personally would start the same front three. That's just me.
As long as Henderson and Milner are back in the midfield, then I'll be happy.
I was going to ask, you took the words out of my mouth. I think that's the only thing that would kind of make us sit up when it gets to 3:30 on Sunday and the teams are read out. If he tries to go with some sort of radical, solid midfield of Henderson, Milner, no, I think Fabinho, maybe the badge would miss out, which would be crazy, really, because he's been pretty much our best player since he made his debut 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. But like Jose said, he got found out big time against Real Madrid in that midfield. You don't be trying them tricks and flicks against Modric. And I do think the likes of Bruno and Casemiro would find him out big time if that was the case. But I'd probably hedge a bet to say Bajcetic, Fabinho and Henderson. I think Henderson will come back in for Elliott. Elliott never pulls up any trees. I think tonight was about giving him a comfy start at home and more about resting Henderson.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Ludgero da Silva, big up my brother. Jose, vamos, brother. Right, it's 11 o'clock, boys.
Wow.
It's been brilliant night from a Liverpool point of view. This is what Onto the Ball was made for, Travis. This live match reactions, Jose, with a Liverpool win, 3 points, a Man United win in the FA Cup, and us boys coming on with big smiles, plenty to talk about, plenty to discuss about the game, the next fixture, looking forward to it. But obviously, since Onto the Ball was created, Liverpool have been absolutely diabolical. And I come on here every stream complaining about what went wrong and how we're doomed and we can't fix anything. But it's brilliant to come on here. What does the top 4 even look like now? I think are we 2 points off? Or is it 4 points off?
Six points off Spurs with a game in hand. 6 points off Spurs with a game in hand. That's what you are, and a couple off Newcastle. So, but you played a game more than Newcastle. So Sunday's huge for everyone, really.
If we can catch Spurs, Jose, I'm sure you'll back me up on this because you are Spurs' biggest critique. If we can't beat Spurs to the top 4, then Liverpool don't deserve it. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It's gonna be a tough run because I was looking on my stream, until the end of the season, the games that you still got left and Tottenham got left. I know there's not an easy game in the world. Let's be honest, anything can happen. But when you look on the paper, Tottenham has an easy game than Liverpool. Liverpool still have to face like Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, and that's all basically in the next, I think, 10 games. So it's very, very tough ones. But when you Tottenham, but then my question is, can you see Tottenham going in a good run? Nah, you can't. Let's be honest. They just got beat by Sheffield United.
How was it? Leicester and watched them get absolutely pummeled 4-1 against a very average Leicester side. They got absolutely steamrolled by Arsenal at home, wasn't it? It was at White Hart Lane. Was that 2-0? This is a poor Spurs team. And I don't want to jinx it, because Trav will remind me of this come May, but it feels to me like it's opening up. Newcastle are falling away. Spurs are just nothing to write home about. It's almost just getting set up for Liverpool to sneak into that top 4.
Scott,
April, May.
Do you remember saying on my channel, this was a few months ago, you did said that Newcastle will slip. Newcastle will not get top 4.
Yeah,
and I believe they will not get top 4 now.
They just haven't got enough reinforcements, have they?
No.
A couple of injuries and they look very ordinary. And they've started dropping points left, right, and center. I'm just looking at now. They're winless in 4 now. They haven't got a win in 4 games. Obviously, Liverpool was one of them a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's all on to Manchester United on Sunday. Travis, what are we going to do for the game?
I don't know. I don't know. It's up to you. We can do a live or whatever you want to do.
We're going to try and do a 4-hour live all the way through.
Potentially. It could be on the cards, mate.
It could be a blockbuster watch, wouldn't it? I think we should just go for it. Dalival is in the comments. Thanks for joining us, brother. Very happy with the win. I'd rest Bajcetic as he cannot be losing the ball like that versus Manchester United. Absolutely, brother. That's what Jose was saying. But at the same time, it could be a game where we need his calm and influence. I don't know about you, Jose, but I was saying to Travis, it's like he plays with wing mirrors on. Whenever he's receiving the ball, you can see the player. Oh, I tell you what, if he just laid it and he sees it and he lays it off nice and simple, and he's making the seasoned professionals look ordinary, really, which is odd for an 18-year-old. Do you think Henderson and Fabinho watch Bajcetic and think, you're better than me?
I agree with you. Like, we've made that times as well, as on WhatsApp group and stuff. It's just how young he is, but how mature he looks at time and how good he is when he gets the ball as well. He's that kind of player that with that age, you get a ball, before you get the ball, you know what you're going to do already. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You see players like, I'm going to mention Sancho, right? Like I said, I never had nothing against the kid, but Sancho is that kind of player that doesn't know whenever he gets the ball, he doesn't know what he does. When he gets the ball, he thinks about 5 seconds, or he has to touch the ball 5 times before he does something. It's why Sancho will never become, a top player. But yeah, I mean, with Stefan, it's just crazy. A big talent in there. Liverpool not midfield as well. You rebuild on your midfield for the next few years. If you manage to get Bellingham, I actually mentioned that tonight. I said, yeah, you need more than just one midfielder in the summer. But I do strongly believe with Stefan, if you bring in Bellingham and maybe you bring in someone else, like probably not next season, but in 2-3 years. I was saying this, but young players nowadays, right? They seem to just come in now. No matter what team they play for, and they perform week out. But in 2-3 years' time, I think you got a big player in here, big talent.
I agree. We just got to nurture him right, not put too much weight on his shoulders.
Definitely.
Right, lads, it's been a pleasure. Jose, I'm over the moon. You've come on for 20 minutes.
No, my man.
Thank you
so much.
man.
I was looking forward for this. First time. Now it's been like 15 minutes, but I really enjoy you. And guys know that I watch you guys quite a lot. I become a better YouTuber by watching you guys. I do learn from you guys, and
appreciate that, mate.
Sometimes,
likewise, mate.
When I'm at work, right, when I've got a bit of free time, when I watch you guys stream, or even the night when I'm free, it just makes me better as into my next stream. Whenever I watch you guys stream, when I go into my next stream, I always remind of you guys, what you guys say, how you guys explain the stuff, and how do you guys see football as well. It just helps me. I'm big thank you, I'm always in here to help as well. You know that I'm a man.
Brilliant.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
mate.
No,
really
thank you, mate.
that.
No, appreciate that.
And I say exactly the same. I do. You always give me tips and hints on how to set up my streams and what works best. So I really appreciate it. Right, Jose, Travis.
It's been a pleasure.
Let's get off to bed. It's been a pleasure. 3 points for Liverpool, Manchester United in the quarterfinal, and Jose's just done another 3, 4, 5,000 stream. He's absolutely smashing it. When did life get so good? Right, lads. I'll catch you in the group chats, okay?
Yeah,
See you later,
thank you
lads.
very much.
Thank you.